Okay, the recording has begun. We'll edit out the beginning here. Um, so I want to thank Hailee Hicks and Marissa Donnelly for joining me today. They're both residents of Portage, and very unfortunately, they recently lost their father, Bud Hicks, just after Christmas, December 29th. Was that correct?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your dad. It sounds like he was a hardworking guy. You had described him before we got on this call as having worked as a millwright recently, but tell me a little bit about his journey to get there.
Well, he started off in small shops, like ham and machine works. And then he went up to ArcelorMittal, and he was working there for, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years. And then he just got into U.S. Steel about a year and some change ago. That was what he always wanted to do. And
He'd been a mechanic before that, and then he'd always wanted to be a millwright. Is that correct?
well, he's been a mechanic since he was like 15. He took his first car apart by himself, put it all back together. And that was basically his side thing, you know. He'd go to work, he'd come home, he'd be out in the garage working until 11 o'clock at night on a car. And, you know, my mom was a nurse at work, so he'd be at home cooking us dinner in between, getting us ready for school the next day, helping us with homework. He really did it all.
Really active guy with his kids, and one of those handy guys that I like to befriend because I am not handy at all.
Yep. Yeah. He rebuilt my mom's entire house the last 4 years. Gave her her dream home. The whole theme is beach, the entire house, inside out, yard.
Wow. So tell me a little bit more about Bud as a father. It sounds like he was very involved with you girls. What was he like? What were some of his character traits and some of the things you remember the most about him?
He coached our baseball teams, our softball teams. He never missed a game, a practice. He was the definition of Mr. Mom. That's really the best way that I can put it.
So your mom was a nurse?
Yeah.
Is she still a nurse?
No, my mom is disabled now. She has CRPS, so she's unable to work.
Sorry to hear that. So she's retired at this point.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me a little bit about the circumstances leading up to Bud's sickness with COVID-19.
Well, he became sick November 1st. He was tested for COVID, found out on the 9th that he had COVID, and that's when he went to the hospital. We would all video call him every day, multiple times a day. Somebody was always on video with him, making sure he was okay.
Coffee.
Definitely, everybody brought him coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. That was his favorite. On November 28th, he was put on a ventilator. Nobody was able to see him, talk to him. What was it? I think it was December 9th. They finally let my mom go up and see him in the hospital. So then she was able to video him with all of us kids, all of his grandkids. And then that led up to when he passed December 29th.
Tell me a little bit about the struggle that he went through. I know that that's got to be a hard thing, but I think it's an important thing for folks to understand. You know, when someone gets sick with COVID-19, it's not always these mild cold symptoms that we see some people describe. Some people get hit very hard with it. Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
Well, when he first went in, his oxygen kept dropping. And when my mom was still able to video him before he went on the ventilator, she would have to call the hospital multiple times because his oxygen would drop, and nobody would come. So my mom finally got him moved to the ICU where they would be able to watch him because it was just going like downhill. And then like we'd have one good step where his lungs looked a little better in the chest x-rays, and then the next day they'd be like completely fogged. And it was just really, really sad because when he could call us, his grandkids were his life. He's got 14 grandkids, 7 kids. So, you know, on Thanksgiving, he called my mom. He was just ready to give up because he couldn't see his family. And that was killing him more than anything. And all of his organs were functioning well until the day before he passed away. His kidneys shut down, and it was just like immediate. They were like, "You should probably get here." He passed around 1:30 that afternoon, 2 o'clock. But they did let us all go in one by one and see him before he went. You know.
What was the last thing you remember saying to your dad, or the last thing you remember talking to him about when he could actually interact with you?
Well, mine was my son. Him and my mom had my son for about 2 years in their care, and he has autism. And that little boy was my dad's like little buddy, you know what I mean? Like they went everywhere together. And I was just telling him how Buddy was doing in school because he goes to ABA therapy. And he had just said his first couple words when my dad started getting sick. He started talking, and he's 3 now. So that's the last thing I spoke with him about.
Wow.
You? Probably coffee.
Probably the
It was
coffee,
probably
yeah.
coffee. He'd have us all going against each other, bringing him coffees at all different hours of the day, not telling the other kids.
He liked his Dunkin' Donuts. So you folks were actually able to get him coffee in the hospital while he was there for a while?
Yeah, we would have to take it to the desk and they would get it to him. But yeah, all day.
He kept a steady stream going for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What hospital was he at?
What's it? It's Franciscan now.
Okay.
The St. Anthony's in Crown Point.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I'm very familiar with that hospital. My wife worked in the ICU there for a number of years, so
Oh yeah.
she's a nurse as well. I didn't know where he was. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. The whole thing was just really up and down. You know, they kind of got our hopes up with him being able to get lung transplants, and then he's not a candidate. And then when he is a candidate, oh, well, he had a positive COVID test, so he couldn't be transported, you know? So, like, every 3 steps we got ahead, we went back like 15.
A lot of people describe it as this really horrible roller coaster ride where you see some improvement and then all of a sudden it plummets again, and then you see a little bit more and then it's back down again. Is that accurate?
It's like spot on accurate, yeah.
We had the candlelight on the 21st.
Oh yeah, we also had a candlelight for him outside the hospital on November 21st. No, December 21st. And our whole family was there, our friends and everything.
Do you have any photos from that or video?
We have video.
I have the video, yeah. It's on my Facebook.
I'd love to share some of the video clips online with our online presentation.
Okay, yeah, I can send it over to you.
Fantastic. Tell me a little bit more about Bud as Mr. Mom. You described him as a coach. You described him as a guy who was always there. It sounds like he was great with your son. Your mom was busy working as a nurse. He was a mechanic, but he also had lots of time for you kids. Tell me a little bit more about his traits as a dad in that department.
I mean, he was willing to help us with homework. He was willing to teach us, you know.
How to work on cars.
Yeah, we would be in the garage working on cars with him. He would spend hours teaching us. You know.
We went fishing every night growing up. Every single night after dinner, we'd go fishing.
What else? He taught us all how to drive.
Mhm.
What, four of us? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can appreciate how much patience that takes. I have I have twin 17-year-old boys in my household, two younger kids as well, and they're sort of in the going for their driver's license.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You take your life in your hands every time you get in the car with one of those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing all these thoughts. If there was one thing that you could tell our readers about this, about your dad, about COVID-19, about what he went through, anything that you could relay to them that you think would be important for people to know about either this disease or who your dad was, what have we missed? What have we not talked about?
It's not a joke. A lot of people think it's a joke, and once it happens to your family, you start noticing it happening to other families, and like you wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't. It's the saddest thing we've ever gone through. And my poor mom, who's just lost her mind. She's been married to him for 22 years, been with him for 24. And it's a mess.
Yeah,
It's very real, very raw.
Mhm.
I can only imagine. What was your mom's name?
Julie.
Julie? Is she okay
Yeah.
if I name her in the story as well?
Yeah, yeah, she knows.
Yeah.
Julie Hicks.
Yes.
And obviously she lives in Portage as well. How old is Julie?
45.
45?
Mhm.
My age. And Hailee and Marissa, how old are you?
Haley's 25.
Okay,
And I'm 27.
27. Okay, great. We always put extra identification in there just to make sure that there's not some other Hailee Hicks walking around. People will know that this is a specific person. So
Yeah.
I very much appreciate you sharing all these thoughts and memories with me today. If I have any other questions as I'm putting these things together, I hope you don't mind if I reach out. If you think of something else that you'd like to see included in there, by all means, just email me and we'll find a way to get it in. Okay. But yeah, I'd very much appreciate photos if you can get those to me and any video clips you have from that candlelight, man, that would be great.
Okay. How many pictures do you want us to send to you?
I had 3 or 4 of the best. And if you may have to
Okay.
send individually in separate emails. We have a server here that will only take files of a certain size. So if they're really big images, if you can send them individually, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay. I'll be watching my email for them over the next couple of days. If I don't see them, I'll just follow up with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Is there anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. So sorry for your
I don't
loss.
think so.
Good luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.